Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Wake Up Wednesday with Jen and Kim. Last week we chatted about using supplements and food and all different kinds of things, oils to boost our immune system. Oh, my dog. Sorry guys, my dogs are going to be in these Wake Up Wednesdays because they're awake. Anyway, so we chatted about boosting our immune system last week and really what we could do to be proactive and kick things in the butt. But this week we're going to talk about how our emotions can also, actually sometimes even more, usually most of the time more, affect our body and our immune system and how everything's working in our system. So that's equally as important, if not more.
Mental health,
yes.
I think people are starting to know the importance of mental health, but I think often when you think mental health, you think like people who have diagnoses, but we all have to take care of our mental health on an everyday basis.
It's so important. Hi, Claudia. Claudia let me take care of my mental health on Monday.
Thanks, Claudia. It's so nice to be with my sister.
Yes. So it's going to be all about emotions today and how we need to recognize them, release them, and listen to them in order to make our lives better in every aspect.
Absolutely.
She was jumping in.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I was going to talk about, on Monday, I was with my sister. We did a lot of spiritual stuff and working on emotions. And one thing that she's being my teacher at all of this. So she's been learning about emotions and been on this journey for longer. And it's funny that we really have to work on this because I think learning about listening to ourselves is something that we've been conditioned out of from children, and we feel emotions and we just block them off and we move along, and then we get to a point where we have all of these big issues in our lives and we don't know where to start. So on Monday, my sister walked me through something called the Aroma Freedom Technique, which we talked about in a class we also did last week. So it's just been kind of going around in our world lately, and it was really impactful. I was resistant to do this. It includes oils and 12 steps you go through.
Imagery, you're going back to memories and old feelings.
Yeah, we won't go through every step right now, but we did chat about it somewhere else, and you can always look into it yourself too. But you use essential oils, you think about what the current issue is, and you go through these steps, and it's really crazy. It brings you back to childhood. It brings you back to past issues in relationships. Sometimes it brings you to the most random places. And I think the most eye-opening thing is that our bodies really know what they need to go through. It's not, we don't have to be thinking like, as she walked me through it, she was like, just breathe. You put oils in your hands and you take these big breaths and you just breathe through until your brain has another idea, and it helps you walk through. So I think the biggest thing was listen, be patient with yourself, let out the emotions when they happen. I'm not great with that, but the oils
and my sister
it's not, if you feel an emotion when you're out in public, you're not going to stand there and cry, but maybe we should make that the norm.
Yeah, really so much. When I walked in this morning and she said something about like, you're the emotional teacher, and I literally laughed out loud because I still have, we all have like that deep conditioning and the subliminal, not subliminal, like subconscious feelings that are still in us. And I have been an emotional person my entire life. If you know me, you know that.
Yeah.
But that message that I always got was like, stop being emotional. Like this being emotional doesn't help anything. Crying doesn't help anything. You want me to give you something to cry about? Like those are the messages. Like I don't even know where that came from. I didn't plan to say that, but it just came out.
She gets very emotional.
I get really emotional.
She's connected, but it's amazing.
I feel tension in my neck and my shoulders, like I'm gonna cry because I just said that. And like the stuff that Jen just talked about, like going back, most of us are resistant, and unless maybe if you're at the place, you'll be open to it. But I know a lot of people are going to hear that and be like, why would I want to go back to childhood? Why would I want to go back to painful memories? And because you do it, and the power of like using aromatherapy, and we'll talk about it a little bit more later, but you don't even have to have oils. Like obviously we love our oils and they work really fast. We'll give you a few more examples, but you can use aromatics from your kitchen, from your yard. I just went and picked a grapefruit oh my gosh,
Does
you
it have
can
good smell?
slice it a little bit. It's not quite as, but if you sliced it, you cut a grapefruit, a lemon, an orange, a lime, you grab a bunch of rosemary from the grocery store, preferably from your own garden, basil and lime together brings so much clarity. So having those, I mean, the oils come from the plants. You can smell the actual plants and you can still get these benefits. So we'll talk about that later. But, or if you have questions about it, you know, shoot us. Like, we want to help people in any way. So obviously it's not just about oils, it's about all around holistic health and using the resources that you have.
Any tools you can. And going back to the childhood and coming up with those memories, it really linked to, I mean, raising children. And Kim had a wonderful experience last night with my children as I was with your child, Claudia.
You got to see it, so that was nice.
She did. Claudia did get to join in on that.
We did a little FaceTime in the middle.
But it kind of prompted this morning because it's a big deal that we pay attention to these what seem like little moments in their lives, and sometimes we just skip right over them, like, okay guys, and we make them do whatever we want them to do despite their feelings. So Kim, you want to go through your interesting night last night?
I do. I'll try and keep it shortish. And it was interesting because as it was happening, like someone was taking a walk in our neighborhood, we were outside, and I felt judgmental eyes, and there was part of me was like, maybe I should just make them do it. And then I was like, no, like hold true. But no matter how far you come, like you're going to have to remind yourself over and over to focus on the feelings. To keep, this is from my classroom last year. I had it in a closet, but I think we'll keep it out now. I don't know. I forgot about it. So last night I was going to take the kids to take a shower. My mom lives really, really close. I don't know if we actually should talk about that story, but whatever. I got here late in the night. Their hot water heater broke last week, so there's no hot water here. And so we've been going to my mom's house, which is in the same neighborhood, but like 10 blocks. You know, it's
half
like
a mile.
It's a nice distance to walk. I walk it all the time, but it's not, you know, you gotta jump in the car. But I got here and she had taken the minivan with the car seats to work. We just forgot. That's the plan. But the kids were a little stinky. They needed showers. And we've got a lot of different things going on in the next few days. You know, it's a holiday. So I was like, you know what? We're not going far. We're just going to strap you in, put the seatbelt behind you, drive slow. You know, like there's not a lot of traffic here. One of the kids thought this was amazing, like the coolest thing ever. The other one, and we talked about it not being regular safety, all that stuff, but we got out. Everybody thought it was fine. We got out to the car and the toddler, who is 3, soon to be 4, not quite, just had a meltdown of like, no, I don't want to go. I just want to walk to Bubby's. Bubby is what we call Mom. And I was like, we can't walk. And we had been talking about walking. Like Big Brother was going to walk home afterwards. But I was like, we can't walk. It's far. She did. Yeah, I'm being slow. I'm sorry. She didn't like the color. The point of it, she didn't like the color of the seats in my car, and she really loved her car seat. It's her favorite color, and she didn't want to get in the car. And it escalated from her just not saying that and telling me she wanted to walk, which often if you like pay attention in the beginning and you listen to their feelings and you validate them and reflect them back, sometimes that's enough. It wasn't today. And I reflected back her feelings, but then also explained the whole situation again and again, and then it just escalated to tears, to tears, to tears. Over time, I didn't know what to do. Like, somebody else walked by. I was like, should I just put her in the car? You can't just put her, she doesn't even have a car seat. It's not like, I can't just put her in the car, right?
She's rolling all around
So,
in the backseat. Quickly get to
I mean, it was like, and now there's Big Brother Bradley's in the front seat, and he just wants to get back to do the things he was already working on. So he wanted to take a quick shower. Now it's like really taking long. And then Sister Macy really wants to go. She's so excited. She wants to go play with the dogs and take a bath. And we're just crying on the sidewalk. So, I mean, it just like moved through. I was like, all right, we can't. We'll have to do it tomorrow. Like I asked her if she wanted to go back in with her dad because he was here. No, she didn't want to do that either. Like it just kept escalating. Then when I said we weren't going to do it, then Macy started crying. So now I had everybody who's like upset, crying, and we just sat on the sidewalk. As I told Bradley to just go in. Like we'll figure it out later. And we just cried. Like I sat there, I like texted her. I was like, this is a disaster. I was having that moment of like not being fully present. I was there, but I was also like, ah! And I then remembered my tools, and I remembered the breathing, and I gave her big hugs, and we sat down, and I really embraced her feelings, and I reflected back what I thought she was feeling. You really don't want to go in the car. You really want to walk. You prefer to be in your own car seat. And she's like, you know, through that kid. So she was feeling the validation, and it calmed down, but it did keep going. Speed up the story because I'm going on and on. A little while later, we ended up, after talking to Mom, that still didn't help. I got inside and grabbed a bottle of Valor essential oil, which she's like super receptive to oils.
Yeah, my kids are. They love it.
Like super. She just smelled this. It was less than 60 seconds. And I was like talking to Macy about something else, and I turned around. She was like a different kid.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's
like
really great
she
with
had
her
like
oils.
red face, snot dripping down to like all of a sudden she's like, so we could dance to a song now? Because I had also suggested we put on some music and dance it out. And I was like, yeah, we can. And she's like, and then she started talking about rocks and trees and like totally random things that were not, but she was like happy. She was like uplifted, and I was like, whoa. And the other one went in, Macy went in to have a little alone time and to smell her oil. But then within a few minutes we put on music, we danced it out, we shook off all of our feelings, and we were able to get to the place that Macy was, I mean, there was
still
no
stink.
bath. Like, we did have to abandon it. But, I mean, we were at a place of, like, everybody upset.
Yeah.
Like, Macy was devastated that we weren't going to play with the dogs and take a bath. And Emma was devastated that we had, like, it was just, there was no winning.
But the
and
moral,
also disappointed with themselves.
Yeah, the moral of the story is, though, even though they didn't get a bath, which we'll conquer that sometime today, is that Emma really felt that she was heard. We could have, other scenario, you could have just thrown her in the car as she was kicking and screaming. She could have gotten the bath. Maybe she would have kind of forgotten that she was upset. But as she laid down in bed that night, like, she would have known, nobody listened to me. I don't have a voice. My emotions didn't matter. And so even though the outcome wasn't what we wanted as adults, she is growing up knowing that somebody is listening to her and her emotions are valid, and she doesn't need to suppress them just because a grown-up told her to. And so thanks, Kim, for putting that in my kids. And it is hard sometimes as adults when we look at our little kids and all we think is, what's this irrational fear? Just go, just do it. And that's again what Kim was saying, like being present. Like, why are we just shushing things up? Where are we going? That's so important. Now, some may say, like, we have to get to work, we have to get to a party, we have to, you know, really evaluate if where you're going is more important than validating your children's emotions. And
long-term mental health.
Yeah,
because
like,
this is the foundation.
when they're adults, yep. So, we should probably...
We're supposed to keep this to 10 minutes, where I'm sure we're already
I think we're
there,
going to make this 20 minutes on Wednesdays. What do you guys think? Got it?
I don't think people will listen to 20 minutes.
Maybe.
But
okay.
we'll see.
We can move
get
on
there.
to the other
like,
things.
cut them into different parts. Maybe we'll do it 2 times a week. If you have ideas, if you do watch this and you have, like, feelings towards, like, if a little snippet would be more helpful, or, I don't know, we'll work it out. This is only week 2.
Claudia's stories go this long, too, so she'll have no input.
Well, there are other people who will watch later.
Yes, no idea.
So this like brings me back over and over to this quote, which I didn't ever. This is a quote that you probably have heard. Maybe it's pretty popular in the world, but I always think about it in terms of meditation and like trying to force the things I want to happen in my own life. But then I read it this morning and I was like, oh, this is exactly emotions. So it's a quote by Rumi. When I run after what I think I want, my days are a furnace of stress and anxiety. If I sit in my own place of patience, what I need flows to me and without pain. And it's a little longer, but I'll leave it just at that. And that reminded me totally of last night, where I just sat on the ground and I was like, we're just going to let this ride. We're going to see what happens. Because I know that the only constant in life is that nothing stays the same. Everything changes. So if you just sit still and you feel the tears and you feel the frustration, you feel the anger, whatever those emotions are, they're going to change. And things like essential oils or maybe crystals, or movement, you know, these tools that we can have in our emotional toolbox can really help to expedite it. It'll change even if you do nothing, but it's going to take a whole lot longer. It might take you a whole lifetime to deal with these things, and you may figure it all out on your deathbed. But if you can know that there are conscious things you can do now, and if you can give your kids this foundation from the time they're little, might not have to go to therapy. Like, and maybe you don't agree, but I think everybody probably needs to go to therapy, because we all are only doing the very best with what we have. And none of us are perfect. None of our parents are perfect. And that's okay. That's humanity. But learning how to deal with those things is super important.
Yeah, and schools and daycares and things like that don't deal, I mean, I don't know, maybe a little bit now, but I feel like it's a new thing to start introducing feelings and emotions to kids. So
yeah, I had a feelings corner in my classroom. We had the sign, and I had different little things that they could smell. I can't remember what they were in, like cotton balls and cups or something, with different smells and different fresh fruit and things. And then they had like squishy balls, and they had like a little kinetic sand tray, and so there were like things that they could go and be on their own and reflect. But then we also taught those tools. It's not just like go, and like I have a book at the end. I'm going to talk about like preparing for these emotions, and the way that I'll talk about it right now. The way that we can prepare for ourselves is to be present as much as we possibly can. And the way you get good at that, here comes Copper. The way you get good at that is meditation, is prayer, is taking time to just be on your own. And meditation doesn't have to be sitting still in a corner. It can be taking a walk, but paying attention to your feet, stepping on the ground, looking at the trees, looking at the sky, feeling the breath, the fresh air coming into your nose and filling your whole body. Like that's what presence and mindfulness is. And if you can do that in normal moments when you're just feeling happy, then when you really need it, when you're like, this is a disaster, you're going to be able to call on that feeling of presence and bring it back into that. And you're going to teach your kids to do the same thing.
He's drinking my coffee. Dogs are great therapy too.
Yeah, I mean, animals.
Don't drink my coffee. Sorry. Look at his chops. I guess I'm done with it.
Oh, that's so gross.
Anyway,
I think you said like our emotions are an emotional guidance system. It's kind of like your GPS. But it's
leading your days.
EGS. Your emotion is where you're. I got that from Abraham. It doesn't matter. There's like I didn't make that.
Move into the camera.
Your emotions tell you where you need to go. Paying attention to what your emotions are telling you, like, I'm fearful of this. Well, why are you fearful of this? Like, look at these things and don't just run away from them. So I feel like we've said the same thing again and again, but I really want to drive it home.
No, really down. He's a star in the show.
You've been replaced.
No, I think that one of the biggest points I wanted to say before we go off, and I don't know if you have anything else, was with the kids, sometimes we dismiss, I mean, we've talked about dismissing their emotions, but they are sometimes more in tune with, they're more mindful than we are, because our brain is going 1,000 miles a minute, where we're going, you know, what we have to do, our to-do list, but they are actually paying attention to their surroundings more than we are. So if a kid says they're uncomfortable, we should listen to that, because there might be, I mean, they're following their they're following their body. They're following what their body's saying. And so we should take a second, learn from them, and be mindful like they are. Get all the junk out of our mind and really pay attention to how we feel and let it guide us through life. Oh, here's the other one. Okay.
We can't put them upstairs because they'll wake up the rest of the house. We're the only ones awake right now, which is kind of nice, right?
Yeah.
So I did have some more. I was going to give you some details, but if you are interested in them, reach out. The two stones that I brought to highlight today are blue calcite and rose quartz. Both of these are excellent for emotional healing, emotional release. And there are affirmations you can say while holding these. You can hold them while meditating. You can just carry them in your pocket. Everything has energy in the world. As you know, like, you feel differently when you're outside than when you're like in a factory or in like, you know, a store like Walmart, where everything is very cold and metal, is going to feel different than like a little mom and pop store where everything is made of wood and there are lots of flowers and there's, you know, fabric around. Woo, I know, or probably, I don't know how you could possibly hear me. So anyway, so if you are interested in stones, let us know. The techniques that we were talking about, the Aroma Freedom technique, you can learn more if you let me know if you want to know more. We did just do a free class the other day on, I think it's linked on Jennifer, True Health with Jennifer. Let us know. We'll put a link to that in the comments here. And we have lots of oils,
the dog
different
just
things.
stole my shoe and ran.
This is us leaning into our learning. We have so many great things to say. We're going to figure out how to make that happen.
I have to go get her because she stole my shoe and brought it outside.
Have a really great Wednesday.
Yes.
And
wait, did you tell them about the class that we did a couple days ago?
I did.
Okay.
We're going to put a link.
and this
we'll put a link in the end. This is us.
Yeah.
But it's really fun. High five. We are having so much fun. I don't know when I'm going back to New Jersey. We're having a lot of fun. I miss New Jersey, but I really love being here.
We're going to start. Did you say Friday favorites?
I didn't.
We could just...
Anyway.
Well,
yeah, we're going to start to... Go ahead.
I'm going to talk for a second. The dog's left me. Anyway, we're going to start doing Friday favorites. We don't know if we're going to start on Christmas Day. We're going to try. Anyway, in case people are on, you're having a lazy Christmas, maybe you'll pop on. We're each going to pick maybe 2 or 3 things from the week that we've loved, and it could be anything. It could be a food, it could be an activity we did, anything like that. And we're just going to come on and chat about it. If it's a recipe, we'll share it with you. So just lots of fun, different things.
Yeah, and encourage you to think about your Friday favorites.
That's like the point.
Put them in the comments, interact with us. Yeah, I mean, it's another form of gratitude where you're looking at the things you have and figuring out what to appreciate the most.
Yeah. So join us for Friday favorites. We haven't decided what time we're doing that, but we'll post it on True Health with Jennifer when we do. Have a wonderful midweek Wednesday.
Later.
There's no other Wednesdays but midweek.
We're so silly.